Okay, so now that we've talked about proportions, telling if things are proportional or not, when they're equivalent or describing a similar relationship, the next thing you can do with proportions is called finding the unit rate. So we're going to say that we can find the unit rate. Okay. And so before we get into unit rate, we need to talk about what a rate is if they're changing at the same rate. So a rate is a comparison of ratios with different units. So here it costs $5 for 4 cookies. So our first unit is dollars, and then our second unit is cookies. So it's comparing kind of two different amounts. Okay. Oh, and I made a typo, so I need you to fix it first. Change this 3 cookies to 1 cookie. Okay. So that's ratios with different units. So it costs $5 for 4 cookies. We're comparing the cost to the number of cookies in this ratio. So the unit rate is the comparison of a unit to a different amount, or to one amount of the other unit. Okay, so how much does it cost for 1 cookie? Sorry, I was looking at this one. So a rate compares different units. So $5 for 4 cookies. A unit rate is the comparison to one of the other unit. So what does it cost for 1 cookie? Okay, and so what we can do is we can divide. If you take 5 to 4, you always divide by what you want one amount of. Okay, so I want to know how much it is for 1 cookie, so I'm going to divide by the 4. All right, so I can use my calculator. So 5 divided by 4 is $1.25. Okay, so it costs $1.25 for 1 cookie. Just all the sorts of typos, y'all. So you always divide by whatever you want one thing of. Okay, so take a second and jot down what are some other unit rates you can think of. $1.25 per cookie. I'll get you started with one. Miles per hour. So go ahead and pause real quick. Try to brainstorm a few to come up with that are other unit rates. So here's just a few. It's definitely not the list of everything you could ever think of, but some common ones would be like miles per hour when you're driving, miles per gallon when you're comparing different cars, earnings per hour, so how much money you make in an hour or your hourly wage, cost per pound, so like at the grocery store, bananas are like 59 cents per pound or whatever they are. Beef is $4.99 per pound or whatever it actually is. So that would be a unit rate. Rotations per minute on your car is a thing. And music, beats per minute. That's a good one. So if you ever see BPM, that's what that means. This shadow is really annoying to me. I'll fix it later, that's okay. All right, so some real life examples. A car travels 20 miles in 1/4 of an hour. What is the unit rate? So we got to think, what do I want to know one of? Do I want to know how long it takes me to travel 1 mile? or how many miles I can travel in 1 hour. And so typically we usually want to know the distance per hour. So I want to know 1 hour. And we always divide by whatever we want one of. So I'm going to take my ratio of 20 miles to 1/4 of an hour. And I'm going to divide by 1/4. Okay. So 1/4 divided by itself, anything divided by itself is 1. Okay. And then we can use our calculator. Yours is a little different than mine. So if we take 20 divided by 1/4, you get 80. Okay, so the unit rate is 80 miles per hour. Right, it's important to put labels so we understand what we're looking for. All right, the next one, a plant grows 0.26 inches in 13 days. Okay, so I'm just gonna write that ratio of inches to days. So 0.26 inches for 13 days. Okay, and most of the time you want to find out, the amount of something for the length of time. So you always mostly want to know for 1 day. So we want to know how much does the plant grow in 1 day. Okay, so to find the amount it grows in 1 day, I'm going to divide by 13. Because 13 divided by 13 gives me 1 day. And my calculator, 0.26 divided by 13 is 0.2. So it grows 0.2 inches per day. And that's why I set it up this way, so I can keep track of which label goes where. That's why we write it as a ratio. Okay, so last one, it cost $55.58 for 14 gallons of gas. And we want to know how much is it going to cost, whoops, sorry, my pen. How much is it going to cost for 1 gallon of gas? So we want to know 1 gallon. So I'm going to write my ratio of cost compared to my number of gallons. Okay, and we want to know the amount for 1 gallon, so I'm going to divide by 14. You always divide by whatever you want one amount of. So 55.58 divided by 14. I typed 17. Try again. There we go. So it's going to cost $3.97 for 1 gallon of gas. Or we would say $3.97 per gallon. So earlier this year when we talked about that per means divide, this is one of the times when it means divide. All right, so your assignment, your practice, if I can turn the page. Okay, I did spread it over 2 pages so that you have room to write, but you have some unit rates. So always think about what you want to know one thing of, okay? And then the last 2 asks you to find a couple of different unit rates and then compare them, figure out which one is less money, which one is faster, so on and so forth.